Like Jeongin said, his ahead of his uncle always, and this time too. The warehouse is dimly lit, dusty, and filled with crates and shadows. A chilling dampness permeates the air, adding to the sense of unease. Jiwan, her face pale with apprehension, shines her flashlight on a stack of files. She's stumbled upon a hidden room, a secret compartment within the seemingly innocuous warehouse. The air is thick with the smell of dust and something else, something metallic and faintly sickening, a lingering scent of violence. Jiwan carefully examines the documents, her breath catching in her throat. The files contain incriminating evidence, financial records, coded messages, photographs, some disturbingly graphic. They reveal a conspiracy far larger than she could have imagined, implicating young Jiwan in a dangerous game of betrayal. The documents link Jiwan to Kim Marco's past, suggesting a hidden connection, a secret deal that went sour years ago. Marco, her father, had always been a shadowy figure, his past shrouded in mystery. The files reveal a younger Marco, ambitious and reckless, involved in a risky business deal with the Choi family, a rival mafia clan known for their brutal efficiency and sadistic tendencies. The deal involved a significant shipment of weapons, a transaction that went wrong, resulting in a bloodbath. The documents detail Marco's desperate attempts to extricate himself from the deal, his efforts to protect his family from the Choi's wrath. There are letters pleading for forgiveness, offering compensation, hinting at a desperate attempt to break free from the Choi's iron grip. But the Choi's, notorious for their unforgiving nature and penchant for elaborate, gruesome punishments, were not easily appeased. The consequences of Marco's actions had far-reaching implications, impacting not only his life, but also the lives of his family. One chilling photograph shows a hand, brutally mutilated, with a Choi family signet ring still clinging to a finger. Another shows a charred piece of paper, the remnants of a threatening message. In's hand trembles as she pulls out a photograph, a picture of Marco, younger, with a man she recognizes from old family photos. Taiho, his face scarred and menacing, a cruel smile etched onto his lips. The evidence is undeniable. Jiwan has been manipulating her, using her connection to the Kim family and her father's past to further his own agenda. The deal with the Choi's, long thought settled, was clearly not over. Jiwan had unearthed the old conflict, using it as leverage against both Jiwan and Jeongin, knowing the Choi's reputation for merciless retribution. Suddenly, Jeongin enters, his expression grim. He's been watching her from the shadows. "Jeongin, you have to see this," Jiwan said, her voice trembling. She shows him the files, the photographs. Jeonggin's face hardens, his eyes darkening with a mixture of anger and betrayal. He already suspected Jiwan's treachery, but the extent of it is far greater than he anticipated. The details of Marco's past, the connection to the Choi's, the unfinished business, it all paints a terrifying picture, a picture of brutal violence and merciless revenge. "I know. This goes deeper than I thought. Uncle's been playing a dangerous game. He's been using both of us. And the Choi's, they're not to be trifled with," Jeongin said gravely. "He's using you, Jeongin. He's using me. He's manipulating me because of my family, because of my father's past. He's using our connection to the Choi's to further his own schemes. This isn't just about power, it's about unleashing a storm of violence." In's eyes wide with fear and anger. "I know, and I'm going to stop him. But this is bigger than just Jiwan. This involves the Choi's, a decades-old feud fueled by blood and betrayal, and secrets that have been buried for years, secrets that can unleash a war," Jeongin said, taking a deep breath. He looks at Jiwan, his gaze intense. "We need to be careful, Jiwan. Jiwan is ruthless. He'll stop at nothing to protect himself. And the Choi's, they'll make sure he pays. I won't let him get away with this. Not after what he's done. Not after what he's done to my family. Not after what he's done to my father's memory. We have to stop them both." Jeongin said, determined. Jeongin nods, his expression grim. He knows this is a fight for survival, a battle against a formidable enemy who has played them both and unleashed a force far more dangerous than either of them anticipated. Yn and Jeongin tried to escape quietly, but Jiwan's men saw them. So now Jeongin, driving a sleek black sports car, weaves through the labyrinthine streets, tires screeching as he avoids a barrage of bullets. Yn sits beside him, her face pale but determined, clutching a gun she's never fired before. Jiwan's assassins, a team of hardened criminals, are in hot pursuit, their vehicles flanking Jeonggin's car, firing relentless volleys. "They're getting closer!" Yn screams, clutching Jeonggin's arm. "Hold on!" Jeonggin's eyes focused on the road, his voice calm but urgent. He accelerates, the engine roaring, navigating the city's arteries with reckless abandon. The city's lights blur into streaks of color as they weave through traffic, their car a blur of black against the neon backdrop. The assassins, skilled and ruthless, keep up the chase, their bullets peppering the car, leaving trails of sparks and broken glass. Jeongin, a seasoned driver in a world of danger, maneuvers expertly, dodging the hail of gunfire. But the bullets are relentless, their impact a constant threat. "I can't just sit here." In's eyes wide with terror, yet determined. She grabs the gun, her fingers trembling, but her resolve firm. "You're going to be fine, just stay low," Jeongin said, glancing at her, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. He presses down on the accelerator, pushing the car to its limits. The city becomes a blur, a dangerous game of cat and mouse. As they speed through a crowded intersection, a truck cuts in front of Jeonggin's car, forcing him to swerve sharply, narrowly avoiding a collision. The assassins close in, firing from all sides. "We need to lose them," Yn said, grabbing Jeonggin's arm again, her voice a mixture of fear and adrenaline. "I'm working on it," Jeongin nodding, his voice hard. He swerves through the traffic, his adrenaline pumping, pushing his skills to the limit. He takes a sharp left turn, the car skidding, tires screaming, the sound of screeching metal a chilling symphony. The assassins, momentarily thrown off, are forced to slow down. Jeongin slams on the brakes, bringing the car to a sudden stop in a narrow alleyway, the engine roaring as it cools down. The assassins, momentarily confused, screech to a halt a few feet away. They exchange a tense glance, their forced alliance solidifying into something deeper, a shared sense of danger and a flicker of mutual respect. "They're going to regroup. We need to get out of here," Jeongin said, his voice tense. In's eyes fixed on the pursuing vehicles. "But where?" she asked. "Follow me," Jeongin said as he glanced around the alleyway, his eyes catching a glimpse of a hidden passage. He leads Yn into the darkness, the sound of their footsteps echoing through the narrow alley. The assassins, realizing they've lost their prey, burst from their vehicles, their guns at the ready, searching for their targets. As they search, they didn't see anything, which means Yn and Jeongin, the ones they were chasing, have already escaped. They groaned in frustration. Sunlight dapples through the ancient olive trees surrounding the young mansion. Jeongin, impeccably dressed despite the heat, stands facing Jiwan, his uncle, whose expensive suit is rumpled, his face etched with a mixture of anger and fear. The air crackles with unspoken threats. Several of Jeonggin's men stand discreetly in the background, their presence a silent warning. "It ends today, uncle," Jeongin said calmly, but with steel in his voice. Jiwan scoffs. "You think you can just walk in here and—" Jeongin interrupting him. "I'm not here to play games, Jiwan. The evidence is stacked higher than this mansion. The betrayal? Unforgivable." Jiwan tries to bluster, but his bravado is thin. "Betrayal? You're talking nonsense. I've always been loyal to the family." Loyalty? You siphoned funds, undermined YN, and nearly destroyed everything we built. Your loyalty was to yourself and your greed. A cold smile plays on Jeongin lips. He produces a slim, leather-bound folder. He continues, "This contains enough evidence to bury you, Jiwan. Financial records, witness testimonies, even your own coded messages." Jiwan's face pales. He tries to speak, but only a strangled gasp escapes his lips. "I could have done this differently. A quick, quiet disappearance. But YN? She deserves justice. And so does our family," Jeongin said softly. Jeongin signals to his men. They move with practiced efficiency, surrounding Jiwan. He doesn't fight. The defiance has drained from him, replaced by a chilling acceptance of his fate. YN sits at her desk, her expression unreadable. She watches as Jeongin leads a subdued Jiwan through the study, his once proud posture now slumped and defeated. The only sound is the quiet click of Jiwan's handcuffs. Thank you, Jeongin," YN said quietly. Jeongin kneels beside her, taking her hand. "It was never about power, YN. It was about protecting you and our family," Jeongin said softly. Jiwan, disheveled, with his haunted eyes, sits alone at a steel table. The harsh fluorescent lights cast long shadows, emphasizing the deep lines etched into his face. He stares at a chipped paint fleck on the wall, a stark contrast to the polished marble of his former life. The only sounds are the low hum of the lights and the distant muffled roar of the city a world away from the opulent silence of his mansion. A single sweat-beaded hand nervously drums a rhythm on the table. Detective Miller, a weary, world-worn, enters, not carrying a mug this time, but a thick envelope. He places it on the table, the thud echoing in the oppressive quiet. "We found more than the ledger, Jiwan," he said quietly. Jiwan's drumming stops. His eyes, already filled with despair, widen slightly. Miller continues, "We found evidence linking you directly to the Kim murders. 3 counts of first degree. You understand what that means?" Jiwan swallows hard, his Adam's apple bobbing nervously. "It's not just the mansion, Jiwan. It's not just the cars. It's life imprisonment, or worse," Miller said softly. He slides a photograph across the table, a grainy image of a blood-stained alleyway. Jiwan doesn't need to look closely. He recognizes the location instantly. Miller continues, "Your brother, Victor. He's cooperating. He's singing like a canary. He's already implicated you." Jiwan's breath hitches. The practiced indifference crumbles, replaced by raw, primal fear. "You have a choice, Jiwan. You can continue to play the tough guy, or you can tell us everything. And I mean everything. The Kim murders, the money laundering, the political connections, everything. Because if you don't, Victor's testimony alone is enough to put you away for life," Miller said, leaning in. Jiwan's eyes dart around the room, searching for an escape, a lifeline, anything to alleviate the crushing weight of his situation. The opulent silence of his mansion feels a million miles away. "Tick-tock, Jiwan. Time's running out." After a beat, Miller's voice low and menacing. Jiwan's gaze drops to the photograph, his face a mask of fear and regret. The interrogation begins, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The city's relentless hum outside becomes a deafening roar, a constant reminder of the life he's about to lose. Meanwhile, YN stands on the steps of a grand mansion. The setting sun casts long shadows across the manicured gardens below. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves. Yin's expression is serene, a quiet strength in her eyes. The mansion, imposing and elegant, stands silhouetted against the fiery sunset. It's a place that once held the oppressive weight of Jiwan's control, a symbol of his power and dominance. Now it feels different. The air is lighter, the atmosphere less suffocating. Her gaze is distant, contemplative. She seems to be absorbing the beauty of the sunset, the tranquility of the gardens. There's a sense of peace settling over her, a quiet contentment that speaks volumes. A faint smile plays on her lips. It's not a triumphant smile, but one of quiet satisfaction, of hard-won peace. The mansion, once a prison, is now a testament to Jeonggin's unwavering loyalty and In's own resilience. It stands as a symbol of her strength, her ability to overcome adversity. Yen whispers to herself, almost inaudibly, "It's over." Her eyes reflect the colors of the sunset, a blend of orange, purple, and gold. They hold a depth that suggests a journey traveled, a battle won. There's quiet promise in her gaze, a hint of the new beginning that awaits her. A few weeks later, sunlight streams into the Jeonggin's family home, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The atmosphere is tense, but a fragile hope hangs in the air. Yen, elegant even in her worry, sits at the kitchen table, a half-empty cup of coffee before her. Her expression is a mixture of relief and apprehension. She's expecting someone. The front door creaks open, and Marco, Ian's father, enters. He looks older, wearier than he should at his age. The rigidness in his posture, the haunted look in his eyes, signs of Jiwan's control, are slowly fading, replaced by a hesitant uncertainty. Yen rises, her chair scraping against the floor. She watches him, her breath catching in her throat. He looks different, freer. Marco approaches slowly, his steps hesitant. He stops a few feet away, his hands trembling slightly. "Yen, it's me!" In's voice catches in her throat. Tears well up in her eyes. "Dad!" She rushes to him, throwing her arms around him in a fierce embrace. He holds her tightly, his own body shaking. I'm so sorry, Yen, for everything." Marco's voice thick with emotion. "It wasn't your fault, Dad. You were trapped," Yen said, sobbing. Marco pulling back slightly, cupping her face in his hands. "But I let it happen. I let him control me. I failed you." "No, Dad, you didn't fail me. You survived. You're here. That's all that matters," Yen said, shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. He pulls her close again, burying his face in her hair. The years of unspoken pain, of fear, begin to melt away in the warmth of their embrace. "I'm so glad to be here, with you," Marco said, whispering. "Me too, Dad, me too," Yen, whispering back. Jeongin, who was watching at the background, smiled, seeing the father and daughter reunite after months of separation. After the reunion, Yen pleaded her dad to stay for the night. She misses her father so much. She toured her father around the mansion. They talked and understood each other. They had lunch and dinner together with Jeongin, who quietly watched them, as Jeongin didn't want to intrude on the father-daughter moment. He wanted. In's focus is only on her father, while her father is at home. The night comes. In's father rested at the guest's room, while Yen and Jeongin is together in the balcony. The balcony offers a breathtaking view of the city, sprawling beneath a star-studded sky. Jeongin, handsome and weary, but with a newfound strength in his eyes, stands beside Yen, her beauty enhanced by the soft glow of the city lights. They are silhouetted against the panoramic vista, the night air carrying the faint scent of jasmine. The forced marriage that bound them together feels a lifetime ago. Jeongin gently takes In's hand, his touch lingering. The unspoken history between them hangs heavy, yet lightened by a shared triumph. The city lights twinkle like fallen stars, mirroring the sparks of something new between them. "We survived. Together," Jeongin said softly, his voice husky with emotion. Yen leans her head against his shoulder, a soft sigh escaping her lips. The city lights reflect in her eyes, mirroring the depth of her feelings. "Together, and more than I ever thought possible." She smiles, a genuine radiant smile that reaches her eyes. Jeongin turns to her, his gaze intense, filled with a love that has blossomed amidst adversity. He gently traces the curve of her jawline with his thumb. I never imagined this feeling, us. Neither did I, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, Jiwan said, her voice barely a whisper. He pulls her closer, their bodies touching. The city lights blur, their world narrowing to just the two of them. The night air is alive with unspoken promises, with the quiet understanding that their bond is something rare and precious, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by shared resilience. Jeongin gently cups her face in his hands, his thumbs caressing her cheeks. He leans in, his breath warm against her skin. Their lips meet in a slow, tender kiss, a kiss that speaks volumes of shared hardship, mutual respect, and a burgeoning love that has defied all expectations. It's a kiss that seals their survival, their shared victory, and the promise of a future together, uncertain yet undeniably bright.